Now, when people are living on these levels, they're living on animal levels. Animals too cling to life. Animals too beget their future. Animals too are fighting to win. And when people are living on those levels, they have to be controlled by social law, dharma. Just think of our popular religions, what they're concerned with. Prayers for health, wealth, progeny, victory. That is asking the gods to serve your animal nature. This is popular religion. And it doesn't matter what the god's name. I'll never forget being in Mexico City at the Basilica, or whatever you'd call it, of the Virgin of Guadalupe. And the people there, the women on their knees coming for blocks with their little baby that the Virgin has given them in health to thank. Swarms of people. The last time I had seen anything quite like that was at Puri, the temple of the Jagannath in Puri. The same kind of popular religiosity. And I thought, what is it the popular world wants? Health, wealth, progeny. And it doesn't matter what the god's name is. So that's the one religion, the one popular religion all over the world, no matter what the name of the god is. And the job of the priests, those in charge of the historical temple, is to get the name of their god linked up with this thing, and the money pours in like crazy. Now, think of the first temptations of the Buddha. The first was the temptation of lust, Chakra 2. The second is the temptation of fear, Chakra 3. The third was the temptation of duty, Dharma. He had gone past this. And we're not in the field of properly religious life, in the field of the spiritual birth, until we have come up to Chakra 4. And this is at the level of the heart, the sacred heart of Jesus. Jesus, as Leopold Bloom says in Ulysses, with his heart on his sleeve.
Peace to the family. It's the Hood Mystic. I'm in current transition, looking for my car keys because we in like major thinking that something was here and it wasn't. So this is episode 2 of Chakra Nova, the podcast, and we doing it real random and very much in the space of chaosness, but
That was chaos.
yeah, and yes, but you know, still tuning up, still getting it together. But for real, I'm just my car keys because I was going to do it in the house, but the internet is just not
conducive right now.
stop the build. I wanted to keep the build going, so that's what we're going to do. Today we're going to talk about the chakras, but I'm going to put myself on mute, get myself together, and I'm going to have these two wonderful gentlemen introduce themselves.
All right, peace. I'm Prime Harmonic. I am a wearer of a lot of hats. I've had some good metaphysical teachers in my life, and that's what got me started on this internal energy course. And just trying to make sure that, you know, what we give is something that people can relate to, that they can understand, where they don't have to go through some of the pitfalls and bad energy practices.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Peace to the family. Sacred Serpent, your resident occult psychologist, and everything else under the sun. So I am the filler-upper. So as soon as Big Bro gets back on and, you know, he gets his stuff going, we can get this thing swinging. We wanted to have a conversation, and we wanted to have a conversation about the 7 virtues versus the 7 sins. Didn't want to make this biblical and didn't want to scare the people. And then I got the push from the fellas, and they told me just go with it. So we just gonna go with it. There is a level of comprehension that goes with this chakra work. And as far as I'm concerned, all of it is comprehension, because if you're not comprehending what's going on, then nothing else really matters. So, like I said, we're going to start with these 7 virtues versus these 7 sins versus the chakras, and then we're just going to see where it flows from there.
So I think at first people might be a little confused, but I think we all got different types of specialties to bring it to life, to bring you full visual first of the chakras and how to relate it to your own personal life. And what we have is philosophical terms, verbs, or even ways to describe certain energies, but we'll just go one for one. What I'll do is deal with the actual glands that they're referencing, and I'm sure Prime will come from a more esoteric meditative state, and Dark Serpent will come because he put this together, he brought this idea forth, and so he'll just be the overall glue. So the first thing we're going to deal with is sloth or diligence, and related to the root chakra. Dark Serpent has a Kundalini word. I'll be forgetting about it, but it's mainly the Kundalini gland. And so when you think of the Kundalini gland, you might think of, I'm busy or lazy, or I'm just chilling, watching TV. I'm just relaxing. I ain't doing nothing. I ain't up to nothing. I ain't trying to get nothing popping or nothing like that. I just be just chilling. I don't bother nobody. Just stay in the house. What you referencing is sloth. So once you activate that Kundalini gland, it's going to give you the energy to make you focus. It's not and Dark Serpent going to hammer this point home, but it's not a point of reference that's imaginary or philosophical. It's actually practical and related to you and the energy needed for your everyday life. So ultimately, the diligence to connect to your power is connecting to your body, to the root, and actually energizing yourself so you don't be lazy or don't stay in that state of sloth or confusion. So you'll hear a lot of stuff about what you should do or what you shouldn't do. The first thing that you should do is deal with your energy to the point that you are excited, right? But how are you going to fully be excited? By activating that root chakra, but that Kundalini gland as the real pertinent gland to the root chakra. But that's where I'm at with it so far. But I want to hear y'all opinions in reference to sloth, diligence, and the root chakra.
Go ahead, Prime.
Yeah. So, like you said, Hood, I'm all gonna tackle that from an energy point of view. The sister Mandy put a video up on the band app where Sadhguru was talking about, Kundalini, and he was talking about the same thing that we always tell folk. A flower blooming has Kundalini. Everybody has Kundalini because it's the life force, right? When we focus it and bring it into the chakras, we activate a more dynamic energy into our lives. The safest way for that to happen or to start is to start with the root chakra, like what we were talking about. So let's to try and keep it simple. The root chakra is the place where your normal, everyday living and vibing energy meets with your imaginary superhero energy. Like all the things that you thinking, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, bam, 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 right? That's like a vibration. That's like that calling for you to be greater. And that energy also resides in the root chakra. And it's up to us to elevate it, right? And the more we elevate it, the wider the passage gets, the more, our energy travels and travels. So sloth is, number one, if you ain't taking care of your body, like if you are not eating properly or slightly properly, then you're not feeding the fire. You're not going to have that energy. So you're going to appear slothful, whether your intention is lazy or not.
Okay, let me interrupt you. What if I feel like I can eat whatever I want? Try to answer that as simple as you possibly can in relation to what we're talking about.
If it makes you feel good and your body is still operating well, then so be it. But I think everybody knows when their body is not feeling well. And if you've ever eaten something and you grab in your tummy the next day thinking, oh, I shouldn't have ate that such and such, or I ate too much of this or too much of that, right? I'm not saying this all day, every day. Yeah, eat what you want, have fun. One of the more important things, like what Mama Mystic just put on, food with intention, right? I'm going to tell you, if you eat a burger, a beef burger made by somebody that fully loved you and fully wanted you to heal and be good versus a bomb ass vegetarian meal by somebody who hated your guts, that vegetarian meal would do you more harm than that burger would. So ultimately,
Nobody wants to talk about it, Prime. Nobody wants to talk about that. Well, go ahead.
So ultimately, you gotta learn to feel your body, right? That's about feeling the body. When your body's feeling sluggish, you gotta change something to get that energy rising, to get that energy at your command, at your beck and call. Diligence is like the discipline. That's like the what you call it, the David Goggins of the world, right? My man went through training for the Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, and the Air Force Special Forces, right? Because he ignored everything. He was running with broken bones, feet look all jacked up, but in his mind, he was being that Superman, regardless of what his body told him. So there's an extreme to it too. You can almost be too diligent, too disciplined, too focused, to the point where you ignore your body. But again, it's to the same detriment, right? If your body's going to carry your soul, the longer you want to carry it, the better care you got to take of your body.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah. I guess this is the point of the show where I just say I don't care and fuck it, right? Yeah. I'm just going to talk about consequence, right? So I want you to look at the right side of your screen, and I want you to look at the left side of your screen, right? On the right side, you got pride, wrath, gluttony, envy, greed, lust, and what we're talking about right now, we're starting off with sloth. Mm. And on the opposite side, across from sloth, we got diligence. So if I want to break this down in a simplified way, your consequence for not activating properly, for not grounding properly, is going to be sloth. Mm-hmm. From diligence to sloth. Everything that these two gentlemen just articulated was about diligence. All right. Now, what is the consequence to not being diligent with anything that you do? Right. So the consequence to this is going to be sloth, that laziness, that not wanting to do anything, that I'll do it once I have this, so I'll do it once I have that. Right.
Let me just say this. Diligence is defined as careful and persistent work or effort, just in case y'all didn't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't operate under the idea that there's no such thing as good or bad. All right. I know a lot of fantastic people out here, and gurus and hoodoos will love to tell you that there's no such thing as good or bad. And it only exists if you believe in it. I want you to ask yourself how many things happen because you believe in it, right? And then I want you to ask yourself how many things have actually happened without you doing any work. Without you doing any work. How many things have you accomplished without doing absolutely nothing, right? It's somebody else's fault. Somebody else did this. Oh, my circumstances, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, everything we do down here in this material realm has a consequence. Everything we don't do has a consequence. You have a thought, that thought has a consequence. I think it's the sixth universal law, right? Cause and effect. There is a cause, and on the flip side of that cause is an effect. All right? Now, you could tell yourself there's no such thing as good or bad, and you could be right and exact for yourself. But you can't purport that onto anybody else. You can't impose that shit on anybody else. And I'm not going to impose that on my people or on the family. All right? Because if I'm doing this work and these brothers are doing this work, and we're sitting here telling you, oh, you ain't got to do what we doing, and you ain't got to do nothing. You can just sit back, feel good, and believe things are going to come to you, right? I mean, we can do that all day in America, but that's not what we're here for, right? We're trying to put information on a plate for people who have not known that they had a plate to eat with, right? So diligence is persistence, right? Being consistent with your effort, right? Making sure that you dot all the T's and cross all the I's, right? Sloth is the antithesis, right? Do nothing. Hope everything gets better. You choose.
But even at the deeper level, I just want to add on to that eloquent, intro, real intro to the show. You should have started off like that, fam. But anyways, I digress.
Sorry, you was going through technical difficulties.
Yeah,
I didn't know where to start.
it was just chaos. But anyways, so what I was going to say is that this is really about the real magical stuff, the real spell stuff, the real psychic stuff. But you're dealing with magnetism. So generally, so what you're saying is true, but then again, it's not very true, because when you actually do the work, it is like shit just comes to you. It is like you become a magnet to your greatest desires. It is like you don't have to work for it. It is like there's no right or wrong. Everything you do is right.
You got to do the work.
You gotta have diligence, but diligence to what? I think that's a very clear distinction. So I think where I'm gonna come in at is that we're referencing our animal magnetism. So generally, a sloth is a verb, but it's also a noun. It's an animal. So you can relate slothliness to the animal that moves very slow, right? But it's usually on the tree. So you get a nice correlation and a nice understanding of slow, ragged energy. So from a spiritual standpoint, or a metaphysical standpoint, or even an esoteric occult, in the space of initiation or manifestation, simplifying it right now, if I want a house or if I want something in life and I'm not getting it, it's coming to me slow, right? It ain't coming to me fast enough. So generally that's a deadly sin. That's a consequence of not balancing the root chakra, activating the Kundalini gland.
I got one more perspective on this one, man.
Let's eat it up. Let's get it.
So like you said, when you said sloth is kind of slow and like diligence is more of a pace, I think of two particular things. You see some people, they forever running, right? I'm hustling, kid. I ain't got no time to talk. What you gonna take longer than 5 minutes? I ain't trying to hear. Get out my face. I'm hustling, I'm moving. We could look at them and think, yeah, they're very diligent, right? But if they're not taking the time to rest and take care of their life force, something normally will happen in their life that will make them slow down, whether it's an accident, whether it's something weird going on with the family or whatever, at some point they got to slow down and stop, even if it's only a day or two, and ponder, right? It gives them time. They never like being stopped, but it's going to happen, right? And then by the same token, you got people that are extra slow, extra slow, extra slow, but you get the right fire up under that ass and they're going to move if they have to. Like, I don't know a good example of that, man, but like, say if somebody was like,
I'm a good example of that. Go ahead.
All right, you feel me, man. I'm going to tell you, like Hurricane Katrina, my girlfriend at the time, she was having trouble getting her family to move because they seen so many hurricanes, right? Like, whatever, we seen this hurricane, we seen it before, and I called too, and we both were talking to everybody, trying to convince them that, no, this was bigger than anything you would have ever seen, and you need to get your ass in the car and start moving. So, yeah, fast, slow, and striking balance.
All right. Before we jump to the next one, I'm just going to stab both of those two things. Okay. Diligence is not in a direct correlation with speed, and sloth is not in a direct correlation with being slow. Those are only one attribute of both of those two things, right? So
true, you can be diligent and fast, or diligent and slow.
Exactly.
Thoughtful
because
and fast.
Because speed is not a correlation to success.
True that.
So if we want to point out diligence and speed, that's only one attribute, because diligence doesn't necessarily point to speed. It points to consistency and persistence, right? Where sloth, even if you're slow, you can still accomplish a lot of things, like the turtle, right? The turtle always gets across that finish line because the other dude is moving too fast, using too much energy, and the turtle is just pacing itself. Sloth,
hit me with the turtle in the air.
Yeah, he's climbing up the trees. The sloth has no desire to do anything else.
Yeah.
Right? The sloth is just happy in its habitat, just happy where it's at. Regardless of whatever's going on, whatever's transpiring around the sloth, it's still going to be the sloth. Right? Whereas diligent, right? You can change up your pace. You can reformat your tactfulness. You can approach it in a different way. Those are two completely different things that don't have a direct connection or correlation. That's all I want to say.
Consistent effort. Is that what you said? Consistent effort.
Let's regroup and let's reset the room. So sloth, I'm looking at the definition, has nothing to do with speed in relation. It's defined as reluctance to work or make an effort, i.e. laziness. Diligence is a careful, diligent, constant effort towards something. So generally, balancing the root chakra, are you able to make an effort or highest height, or are you reluctant to make that effort? And so generally, what we would begin to move forward into understanding these higher concepts, you just have to start there and really be honest with yourself at a certain level, because no matter what you tell people, you know what you need to do, and your reluctance to it is a result of your root chakra. So the disclaimer that, I love to say, I probably said it on way too many videos, but I'm going to say it once again. Start at your root chakra and move your way up. Chakras are in what chakra is not activated? Generally, you want to activate all of your chakras. Nobody had a watch and said, well, my third gear ain't working, but I can still tell time all right. If any gear is not working, the watch is no good.
Yep.
Okay, all gears have to be working in unison 24 hours a day, or the watch is no good. You got to take it to a watchmaker to get fixed, i.e. your doctor, medical examiner, so forth and so on. So we're moving up to the sacral chakra, and so we're going to deal with the consequence. See, I could have started off with that, fam, but now we hear.
I got it though now. It's my fault, y'all.
It's cool. Or the reward of balancing the sacral chakra. So generally, when you reference the sacral chakra, it can get a little dicey. Are they talking about the sexual glands? Are they talking about the ovaries and the testes? I tend to leave the ovaries and the testes alone because y'all gonna do what y'all gonna do with your private parts. So I just leave that to y'all. What I tend to deal with is the adrenal glands, because the adrenal glands would then really tie into lust, not in the lust sexual way, because everybody lusts ain't sexual. Everybody, Funkadelic got a song called I Got a Thing, You Got a Thing, everybody got a thing.
Thanks for reminding
And
me of my
when we
age.
get together,
Thanks.
we
Thanks.
be doing our thing. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? So generally referencing everybody has a particular lust that throws them out of the loop. And man, is what you want, is what you desire. But the thing about you want and what you desire, it gives you stress. So generally, I tell you what, you going on a first date and you like, okay, cool, I'm going on a first date, I'm excited. But no, shorty is bad. I'm talking smoker, you feel me? I'm telling you, you ain't never seen nobody this I'm bruh, okay? And so I start telling you how bad she is. No, the shoes that she wear, 3,700. You know that everything about her, top of the line, top notch. She only date dudes that wear a Ferrari. Nope, she pulling up right now. Now you like, oh no, you stress. But at first you was referencing lust and you was excited because I told you it was a date. The more details I gave you about the particular female, it created the particular stress. But in reference to chastity, where you are completely satisfied, not to say that you're not having sex, because lust, I think I'm gonna look at the definitions while they talk and I'm gonna listen as well. But I really want to get into the full understanding of lust and chastity outside of sex, because that's easy to talk about. But what about when it comes to your ambitions, your 9 to 5s, the things that you do every single day that give you that guala, that Fetty Wap, but also gives you that cortisol release? Are we ready to talk about it? I'm gonna pass the mic. I'm gonna pass the mic though.
Yes, sir. Well, just before you go, Prime, I'll just say this: since you want to take it out of the sexual realm, replace lust with desire. Go ahead, Prime.
I like that. I like that. So what I was thinking about was to frame it that way. Let's say the desire of your day, right? Like, say you want your day to go a certain way. Are you how bad do you want it to go that way? Or do you, how do I say this? If you want to be in a race or you don't, you want to be off the porch with the big dogs, or you're gonna stay on the porch and stay at home. It's like you're gonna play the game or you're not gonna play the game. It's like there's some point where you have to decide, am I gonna get into the pool? Am I gonna take part in this existence, right? So I would say the moment you step out your door towards a job or something like that, then you have some choices to make in front of you about your desire. And everything that comes to you during your day is going to try your desire. And the trick to me, I would say, is looking at it like, is my desire for me to be happy, or is my desire to make you happy? And the other part of that is, in my desire to make myself happy, is it strong enough that I'm going to do what I have to do to make myself happy? Now, I don't know quite how to tie that back into lust and chastity, other than to say I would look at lust as, I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all out. And chastity being like, no, I'm afraid to do anything, or I'm not going to do anything. So to me, it's like joy and happiness is something you gotta pursue. You can't just like sit and watch it fly by. You gotta try and catch that joint. So it's like, to me, there's a balance between lust and chastity about how much energy you use to pursue being happy. Lust to me is when somebody is trying to pursue being happy so bad that they forget to be happy while they're pursuing being happy. And chastity is just giving up.
This is honestly a layup for me because I've been in chastity since last February. So, lust,
I don't mean
lust.
give it up.
Listen, y'all can laugh at me all y'all want. I'm good with it. Look, lust is the definition is simple. It's a very strong sexual desire.
She's upstairs.
All right, that's it. You know, if we go to desire. Desire is a strong feeling of wanting to have something or wishing for something to happen, right? So, for me, I said I'm in chastity, right? I'm in chastity, right?
Yeah.
The lust part or the desire part, lust, desire, like those things are interchangeable. Honestly, the first two that chakras we started with are interchangeable. So, lust would be purely for sexual feeling, confirmation, touch, whatever, anything sexual, all sexual, that is just it. Like that is it. Your desire is plain and simple, right down the middle, straight up and down, sex. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're the female, you're the male, whatever, that's just it. All right. Desire falls into what you want and a strong feeling to have what you want. Now, whether that's good or bad, that's for the individual or the initiate to choose. Like that's not for us to pick right here. This is not what we do. That's not what I do. So when people like to chalk up desire as being good or being bad, like I don't think those connotations connect because they're different for every person. But chastity, right? Now, what are you holding that chastity for? Because I can tell you what I'm holding my chastity for, right? The self-realization of being able to control and tame my animal nature.
Yeah.
All right. My desire is to control my animal nature. Right. I have no desire to run around like anybody you could think of, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Whoever turned up the most, you know what I'm saying? Like, I did that already. You dig what I'm saying? So now I'm on the flip side of that. So the chastity part is you are building up that energy as opposed to releasing it every chance you can. Right? We all have sexual impulses that come in and they go out. We all have desires that burn deep, and we all have things that we just want, right? All of those things can be chalked up under desire, but the lust part comes in when everything else is irrelevant until you get that thing, right? Unless you can have that thing, nothing else matters.
Yeah, that's definitely lust.
That would be your description of lust, you know what I'm saying? But the chastity part is maybe you're saving yourself for something bigger. Okay, the easy thing is always to pull your pants down, get in the bed, and do whatever you're going to do, right? That's always the easy thing, right? But is it the most beneficial thing? That's, again, for the initiate and for the person. So the flip side of a feeling that you just need to quench, or thirst that you just need to quench, or something that you just have to have versus you building up your energy and working for something great. That's how I feel.
I like this question that Ren posted, which makes chastity and lust both forms of desire.
No, because lust and desire would be on the same side. Chastity is the choice that you make to do the opposite, right?
Which would put you in the same boat as being lustful, is what he is saying, because it's hard to say, all right, I'm not going to have sex, I'm going to be a virgin. That's the hardest shit in the world. most people fucking feel that shit
Mm-hmm.
when they say, "Oh, I'm gonna be a virgin." So generally, lust and chastity kind of would stay in the same boat if you're looking at it from a sexual perspective, but from a psychological point, everybody suffers from lust, from the
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
psychological force producing intense
Absolutely.
desire for an object or circumstance while already having a significant other or amount of the desired object. So thus
Mm-hmm.
that's the key. So generally wanting something that you don't have is not lust, is primal nature. Lust thus is a space where a person who has millions of dollars, right, wake up to get millions more. And a person may who have spiritual knowledge would just dive deep in more books and study, or a person who's traveled all over the world would travel many more places. That's lust. When you've done something a lot and you keep doing that shit, right? Chastity is a virtue. So it's defined in religious as its etymology is cut off, separated, and pure.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, when you live a life of chastity, you're not living a life of stress. You cut off, you pure, you not in the space of stress.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The work that it take you to get to a point of success, right, is going to crush you, and then to maintain that success is going to continuously crush you. When you cut yourself off from the need to be quote unquote successful and just exist in the space of bliss, that's where it would be understood as chastity from an Eastern religion. So I just wanted to kind of throw it in there from psychological point of views, because ultimately deciding whether or not you're going to have sex is hard for some people and easy for others.
Yeah.
So it's going to be different.
But
It's going to be hard for a person to be chaste if it's easy for them to get it. And if you ain't had none, it's going to be easy for you to be chaste. So it's like, from a sexual aspect, it's
those are
the same
varying
thing.
degrees. Those are varying degrees, but I feel where you're coming from, and the reason why I said chastity and lust and desire are not the same things, because desire ultimately and lust are feelings. Chastity is not.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Like, chastity is not a feeling. Lust and desire are feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why I said it's not the same. That's the only reason why I said that. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree with what you're saying. I'm just, yeah, we're in the same ballpark. We're on different bases.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it almost sounds like you have to have desire first
Mm-hmm.
before you turn it into lust or chastity. Like, you got to be clear that you desire something, and then what you do with that desire, lust or chastity.
I would say there's nothing wrong with getting what you desire, right? But if I wake up,
concur that.
when I wake up tomorrow and I want the same thing that I desired yesterday, what's the point, right? I'm just in the realm of lust now. So it's like desires is cool to, like, desires make, like, so just if now once again you got that perfect girl in front of you, right, and you want her, and she's like, you a real cool dude. I really like you. I really vibe with you. Like, I would spend the rest of my life with you. Like, I'm real comfortable with you, whatever. And now you want that person. That's cool, right? But say you get the perfect girl, right? The perfect woman, right? And the next girl you see the next day, right, hit you with that same spill, same exact thing.
Yeah.
Now you in the realm of lust because you got a perfect girl at home. But this sound crazy, right? But it's dudes, millions of dudes with good girls at home, at the club right
falling
now,
for that,
getting something else. That's lust, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's cool when we at the club single and we dancing and we mingle and we trying to mate. There's nothing wrong with that. But what's the problem? The married dudes is in the club too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm seeing, man. I keep wanting to turn this diagram 90 degrees, man, because I keep seeing the equalizer on this joint. You know what I'm saying?
Just remind us of how many TV shows you have privy. Okay, thank you. We appreciate that.
I'm just saying, they look like an equalizer. Those are little sliders, man, and this is a chakra mixer.
It does. Yeah. So I think we tackled that pretty well. Like I said, the right side, left side. I'm not going to say either is good or bad. That's for the individual to determine. Um, Depending on which way you are going within your pathwork. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
that's for y'all to determine. So let's move on.
I
I
mean,
guess.
we just talked about two chakras, and you can see already whether we're talking about one side or the other. It could go either way, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's up
Mhm.
to the individual to determine the value, because there might be value in lust, like Everglow just said. You need to be lusting for your wife, right?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. It's crazy that you
You
said that. You
know,
knock on wood. Like, there's nothing wrong with lusting for your woman. Like, there's
right?
nothing wrong for lusting for a woman that ain't yours. You know what I'm saying? Not in my book, but you might
As
think
long,
about it
right,
differently. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
Somebody else might think
But
about
it
it
would be
differently.
something wrong with lusting after every girl you see.
Yeah, yeah. You be depleting your energy,
Mm, yeah,
but
but I digress.
yeah, just from those two chakras, I love how you've been proving your point, Rod. That is can we call those sins? Can we call those virtues? And can you flip
Yeah,
them? They can be
yeah,
flipped real easily depending on the
yeah,
situation.
yeah.
All
Because if
right,
you
man.
look at
I'm
it,
psyched, man.
if you look at it the way I look at it, and the way I told Hood Mystic about it, like, didn't we say everything was about the middle path? I think the
Yeah,
middle path is pretty laid out, right?
Hmm.
Right? I think the middle path is pretty laid out, but I digress.
I want to mess with the equalizer.
Hmm.
Turn up the bass. All right. Anyway, charity and greed,
You
man.
talking about Denzel Equalizer or the old British white man
No,
Equalizer?
he's talking about
Here
like
we
No,
go.
no,
prime
the sound,
harmonic, like a
sound.
studio engineer
Yeah,
in the
He is. He
studio,
is. He
turning
is.
up the
He is.
dials,
He is. Like, he
coming
got the special
live
effects and
at your
everything.
radios. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
who,
So
who's the black guy who was
let's
the partner to Mahoney? Like yeah.
let's keep a flow to it for the
Yeah.
people. Let's keep a flow to it for the people. So where we have the solar plexus chakra, um, very powerful section in the Chakra Nova series, where it's very clear and very matter of fact of the solar plexus, what it means, what it represents, and how to go about it. The solar plexus is your solar plexus mind. It cannot be relegated or limited to one organ. That's the same way as saying everything in the body results to the hand, right?
Mhm,
So you
mhm.
look at the solar plexus as a complete system. So you got your intestines, small, lower, you got your pancreas, you
Yep.
got your overall digestive system, right? A beautiful system that allows us to think clearly. Why? Because every day we eat and we absorb energy, and the reality of being able to have that energy be smooth and clear and clean is,
Yeah. Yeah.
a powerful thing, because you
Yeah.
ever had to use the bathroom and somebody was talking to you, you'd be like, hold up 1 minute, I'll be right back. Right? I can't talk right now. What's the matter? I gotta go. I gotta go. I'll be right back. Right? So generally, if you could talk and you could
I was doing
function,
that today, man.
you would be in that space. So little slight prepared, just a little bit. Greed would be identified or defined as intense and selfish desire for something, especially wealth, power, and food. While
Mm,
charity could be etymologized as benevolence for the poor. So generally, you then understand it from a digestive system track. You don't need a lot of food to pass through your digestive system, because the less time that you spend digesting food, the more time you get to think. In our community, they call it the itis, right?
yep.
Where you eat some food and you
Mhm.
go straight to sleep, which
Yep.
is cool.
Mhm.
But say, for instance, you're in the realms of diligence and you got your Kundalini activated and your sacral chakra is activated, and now you want to eat some ribs, right? And
Yeah.
some fried chicken, and then go to sleep. Well, You ever put oil in your gas tank
Yeah,
and expect
How
it
about
to
sugar?
run?
How about sugar?
You,
How about sugar? You ever put sugar in that bitch?
you ever put vinegar in your shit? You know, it get crazy. You're supposed to put either E85, flex
yeah, that
fuel,
ethanol.
E87,
Yeah,
or something to that effect to keep your car running. It's certain fluids and it's certain energies that allow us to think better. Right.
yeah.
But if we're only focused on what we see and we let our eyes do the thinking for us, then we
Mm-hmm.
are in the realms of greed. But I think the level of it is, eating to live, not living to eat. But generally, that's where I find my balance in my solar plexus chakra, in the midst of other things. But
I love how you.
once again,
I
I'll
love.
let y'all tap it.
I love how you slid that in there. That was cute.
I know, man. That's. I mean, I think you hit it when you said, using our eyes, right? Because the root chakra is tied to the nose. And I believe the sacral chakra is tied to the tongue, and I'm pretty sure solar plexus is tied to the eyes. But might be right on that. Yeah, because the heart's attached to touch and feeling, then the throat to the ears, and so on. So yeah, so your eyes are considered the paired set of sensory organs with your solar plexus. So that makes total sense. Like people be seeing things that they want. The Jamaicans call it red eye. You too red eye when you're greedy and you want stuff. Yeah, man. So I think that Hood's example was good. Like if you got a loaf of bread and you sitting beside somebody and they hungry, then you don't have to eat that whole loaf while they sitting there hungry. You can give them some, right? And I would consider that charity, moving away from greed. But if you hobbling it all to yourself, then and somebody sitting there beside you hungry. Like I was raised by my peoples are from North Carolina, right? They used to make food, and me and my brother would have to go take plates to people in the neighborhood, and I used to always wonder, I'm like, why can't they cook their own food? And eventually my grandfather explained it to me that well, so and so ain't doing too well, he can't move around, so and so don't know how to cook, and if we got some extra, we're going we give it out, right? And then I started understanding that I wasn't looking at it right, that I wasn't looking at it from a charity point of view. So yeah, man, I don't know how.
Your
I can't
signal
even
was
add to
going in
that.
and out, brother.
Oh, yeah. I was just
Can you hear
saying I
me?
can't. Yep, I can hear you. I can hear you. So I can't take
Yeah, your
away.
signal is going in and out. It's going on
All
and
right.
off.
I
But I can
can't
see
take
you
away
on the
or add to
live, so
that.
it's not flickering on the live. It's just flickering here. So hopefully it's
Yeah.
not.
But anyway, I was done, man. All I was saying was,
Okay, we're up
between.
to 3, right?
Yep. You go. You go. So, on you, sir.
You good?
Yeah. All right. It looks like Sacred and Hood done phased out. So just to keep it rolling,
All right.
we talking. Oh, you back? All right.
Charity
Cool.
versus
Yeah.
greed. Charity versus greed. So this is one of those things where I say, can you really point to a situation where charity was always considered a good thing? And can you wholeheartedly say that every time you came across a greedy person or a greedy situation type thing, have all of those situations always been bad?
Nah, heck no.
Right? So again, once again, I'm sticking with this theme, Just because it's on the sin side, just because it's on the sin side, does not mean that it's a bad thing. But that also doesn't mean that it's good. You know, both things can be right and wrong at the same time. So
Yeah.
what I view greed being an individual who just can't get enough. Right? An individual who's
Okay.
just going to continue to do what they got to do to get their share,
They're
even if
yeah.
it's not their share. They're just going to keep trying to get some, right?
To satisfy
So,
that lust.
yeah, satisfy that lust, right? So if you look at it, there's a theme. It's developing. There's a theme, right? So charity. I can't point to every situation in which I can reference charity in my mind when it's all been a good thing.
Right.
You understand? But I think
Yep.
in this situation, what we are talking about when we say charity, we are saying giving freely of oneself without any seeking of benefit, any idea of trying to gain something on the back end of it. You're just giving because you can. You're giving because it's something that you want to do and not because of something that you have to do or because of something that you are going to gain. Like, I think these two are really very, very simple.
Yeah.
You know, but like I said, you know, there is no connotation of good or bad on either side.
Yeah.
Because I could point to situations when how many times do we hear about a charity that was stealing money all the time?
Right.
How long they've been collecting money for cancer all the time, and we still ain't got enough. No, you know what I'm saying? No advancements on the cancer treatment, right? So,
yeah.
Charity is a double-edged sword, just like greed is. That's as far as I'm going with that.
Yeah. Everglow said, "What about that government cheese, man?" All I know is, man, you got to have some knife skills if you want them thin slices.
The government cheese, that's not charity. That was not charity at all. But if you had your own thing of government cheese,
you was
and you
rolling,
wanted to
man.
eat it all, and somebody called you greedy, they ain't had no right to call you greedy, player. They ain't had no right to call you greedy. It was yours.
I don't know, man. That's
it was yours. It was yours.
That's a lot
though.
of cheese, bro.
So what? Like, you gonna be on the toilet? It was yours. It was yours.
Oh man. Yeah.
Oh, brother Mystic, brother Nunzi,
welcome back,
brother
sir.
Nunzi, brother Nunzi.
Saranumsti.
Sweet brother Nunzi.
Man, so I was listening to y'all, but you know, these technical difficulties is getting real crazy. But in reference to everything that y'all was saying, I find it to be, if we're gonna really sit and worry about like once like being greedy as like, you know, saying like, oh, it's bad to be greedy or and it's good to be charitable, then 10 times out of 10, if you don't have it, you're gonna be broke. And then if you're gonna be greedy and thinking that is like to take care of yourself, like so all of the houses in the suburbs, like the higher echelon cribs, is all of those people greedy, or they just living in the house that they want to live in? And so, if you was living in the house that you wanted to live in, would you be called greedy? You know, so generally, it's like shadow projection. I think this is a good shadow projection realm where we begin to look at people. Oh, look at his six pack. He must have had surgery. Oh, butts don't grow that big. She must have had surgery, you know. So we begin to look at other people and begin to project on what's good and what's bad at this particular point. But then again, I feel like if you was taking care of your solar plexus, if you was in the space of having a six pack, but just really in your food, in your fruits and your veggies and your water, and really thinking like you were supposed to be thinking, reducing the sugars, reducing all of that, I feel like it really matters to a point that you're saying to yourself, I'm not greedy, without saying it, right? And you're saying to yourself, I'm more or less of a giving type of person because of how I eat and how I think and how I go about life, I'm thinking of others, how I shop, how I farm, how I absorb
Right.
energy. You know what I'm saying? And that, right, is the charity to me, because a lot of times not taking care of yourself is the worst thing you could do for the community, right?
Yeah, man.
And
And it sounds
absolutely
like you
right with
sneaking
that.
up into the heart chakra too. Talking about looking at what stuff people got, right? That's
Right.
envy.
See,
Yeah, that's
it
the next. And
blends.
like I said, it's a theme. It's a
It
theme,
blends.
bro.
It blends.
It is a theme that we are on the track with this theme. Yeah, and I think what Hood said was absolutely right, and what Prime said was absolutely right, because
Yeah.
you again, I'm talking about the middle path, but I'm also wanting to hammer home the idea that this shit is all personal work, right?
Yeah.
So who has the right to determine if another person is being greedy? Because if you're doing your due diligence, right,
Right.
for yourself, you don't have the time to notice what anybody else got,
Or to be judging. Yeah.
right? Exactly. And then charity, right? You give because you can. You don't give to break
To give
yourself.
points.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't give to break yourself. You don't give because you want acceptance from a social circle. You don't give because you think it's the right thing to
Because the
do because
pastor
you,
said every
yeah, you know
congregation
what I'm saying?
should pay
You
1,000.
give because it's something you want to do. All of these things are personal, individual choices. These are not things that you can look at another individual and say that person ain't right because they ain't giving enough. That person ain't right because they got too much. That's not for you to decide, right? That's something a sloth nigga would do, right? You sitting
Right.
around, you got enough time to count everybody else's ducats because you ain't got no
Right.
ducats to count, right?
Right.
That is a personal, this is a personal journey, and these are personal decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So before I go any further, I just want to know, Prime, you good with time as we go through these
Yeah.
chakras? Okay,
Yeah.
cool, cool. So, y'all going, like, I'm on my phone right now, fellas, and y'all could probably see better than I can see.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh,
can't, I can't
kindness
see.
and envy. Kindness
Okay.
and envy.
Okay, so we're in the heart chakra
Yeah.
area. We're in the
Mm-hmm.
thymus. We're in the thymus, and once again, I find that it's funny how the shadow projection just came up, and I really didn't mean for it to came up, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just a natural blending and
Mm-hmm.
a natural understanding of greed and envy. I feel like I heard those two words used synonymously, back and forth, interchangeably, but then I can separate the two
Yeah.
and reference them into straight up shadow projection, right? So
Mm-hmm.
imagine a world full of broken hearts that can't, if I know this might sound crazy, but if I was hung, okay, let me retract. Okay, we was driving down the street today and they was giving away free produce, right? That's a good thing, right? However, what if but they was in like the nice neighborhood though? So what if I ain't have a nice car? What if I have a car at all? How am
Mm-hmm.
I going to get that produce? I can't carry it. And what if I'm a little child? I probably don't even know the bus or the times that y'all even doing it. So what's the point of giving out free produce if the people who need it can't even get it? So I bring that to say, when we look at greed and we look at envy in the space of like fully understanding your health and understanding how to be natural and zen and one, like that's an actual vibration, family. Like to not give a fuck what another person is doing,
Mm-hmm.
that's a powerful vibration that nobody can take from you, right? And so generally when you outside of stress, when you outside of lust, when you outside of desires taking over, you then start to think about your health. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna tell
Yeah.
y'all something,
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Taking care of your health is lit. Like that's
Yeah.
way more important than partying, traveling across the world. Because if you don't have your thymus gland in order, your subconscious mind, your solar plexus in order, then you ain't going to be able to travel. So ultimately, how does one begin to fully stay in the place of good health? Well, by being kind, by being gentle, by being aware of the people around you. yes, it's a personal journey, but in order for us to have this conversation, if other people weren't involved, the people who created the infrastructure, put the diamonds in our phone, set up the internet infrastructure. I mean, other people had to be involved for us to have this conversation.
Yep.
So that requires a level of kindness and a level of a cooperation that brings about good health, because the heart chakra is really relating to that thymus gland, that immune system, which is so important in COVID
Yeah,
19
man.
world.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
That's that's all I got.
Nah, that's straight up right there. That's one that I can clearly say. Uh, so I have been envious, right? To this day, I get envious when I see certain things that people might have, right? But then I've learned to not be a hater about it. I've learned to look at that thing and say, okay, well, why am I envious of their position or their thing or whatever, right? If let's say if it's a car or whatever, maybe I like that car. Okay, well, instead of hating on them or instead of wanting what they got specifically theirs, I'm going to say, okay, how can I just chill out and enjoy the fact that I saw something that I like, right? And the more I started just chilling out, the more I started seeing more of what I like, which was kind of interesting to me. Like I live in Middletown, Rhode Island. I be repping DC. I know a lot of people be asking me that. I was born and raised in DC, but I'm living in Rhode Island, and it's not far from Newport. And there's a lot of people around here with a lot of money, and they be driving some serious cars like Bugattis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the more I started thinking, oh man, that was cool to see that car. Then if I say, I want to see a Bugatti Chiron, I'd love to see one of those roll by. And then eventually I might see one roll by. And instead of being envious of that person, I take that initial thought and I turn it towards what can I do for myself to get myself closer to a Bugatti if that's what I want, you know what I mean? Or do I just want to test drive one, or do I just want a picture of it, So to me, that's exercising kindness with myself almost, because I'm not going to punish myself for not having what somebody else got.
That's dope. That's dope. That's dope. How you feel about kindness?
It starts from within. It starts from within. That was like I used to try and be kind to people, but I learned that when you try to be kind to people, it always backfires because you trying to be
Mm-hmm.
kind to people.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to like really be kind to people is to be kind to yourself, because when you're kind to yourself, it kind of floats out of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you try to be nice, like man, my daughter been teaching me. She kicked my ass with this. When I try to be nice and civil with my daughter, it backfires because I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to be nice and civil. Like I might be trying to guide her to do something and I might be using nice words and all of this stuff, but she is quick to pick up on that and make sure that I suffer for my lack of intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How she might as well be saying, "How dare you, Daddy, try to cross me?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I learned the only way I can truly, genuinely get her to follow along is if she's hearing from inside of me that I'm truly happy or truly being kind because I feel good inside, not because I want her to do something. So to me, that genuine kindness, that kindness comes from within. And I have not lived it any other way, I should say. Maybe there are other ways, but me personally, I haven't lived it another way.
Yeah, I used to equate being too kind with weakness, right?
Mm.
Growing up in the inner cities, the projects, Brooklyn, 80s, 90s, like,
Yeah,
like
you had to
you too kind You too
Yeah.
kind around there, like that shit will be used against you, like in any inner city. It's not just where I'm from, right? So this envy thing, a feeling of discontented or resentful longing aroused by someone else's possessions, qualities, or luck. See, envy can be also a two-sided coin or a double-edged sword, so to speak, because your envy could actually lead to the motor needed or the motor that is necessary for you to accomplish the thing that you actually want anyway, right? Because sometimes people's envy pushes them in a vengeful direction.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck this nigga got this shit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got this shit. He don't do what I do. Blah 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 blah. Now I got to
Yeah.
work harder, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes that thing can be used as a stepping stone to get you to propel you into going into the right direction. But sometimes, more times than not, envy is something that is a jealous quality, right? You're
Mhm.
generally jealous of something that you don't have, not because you deserve to have it, not because you work to get it. It's simply because you are looking with your eyes, you see something that someone else has,
You want to
and
touch
you want that thing.
that heart.
It could be
Yeah.
so close but so far away, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like I said, again, there's no good or bad in this, but if you're more envious than you are kind, where's the benefit in that for you, right? Because kindness, that's a heart thing. That's a
Mm-hmm.
love thing. That's
Mm-hmm.
a already in you thing. That's not a manufactured concept. Like you can't manufacture kindness, right? Like you said, you tried to be kind, but it backfired because you weren't all the way in it, right?
Yeah.
You were doing it for maybe surrounding acceptance, social acceptance or social approval. But when you are a kind individual, you are just kind, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is no distinction as to why you are being kind. You are just simply kind, right? But the envy thing, that can go either way. So, like I said, pick your
Mm-hmm.
poison. Next one is temperance and gluttony, big homie.
I really enjoyed your points. You really got a bright future, man. Ra Prime, especially Ra, man. You got to keep it up, bro.
I know that psychology, man.
Yeah, you gotta keep it up, bro. Gluttony and temperance. So once again, it's very. I think for this one, bro, I'm gonna have to look up the definition. So y'all gonna have to
I
excuse me.
got you. I got you.
Go ahead
Yeah,
and
please,
pick
bro.
that definition for both of these, because both of these words is big words, and I went to public school, so I can't wrap my mind.
Yeah, 'cause, and it's hard for me to tell the difference between gluttony and greed.
you're gonna have to get away from that, bro. See, it's not even proper because the first thing that comes up under temperance is absence from alcohol. That's not, you know what I'm
Wow,
saying?
wow.
That's not even like
That ain't.
that ain't even right and exact, bro.
Yeah.
That's not even close to right and exact.
What if
So
alcohol wasn't in the picture?
yeah,
Exactly.
temperance as emotional restraint or self-control.
Okay.
Emotional restraint or self-control. And then gluttony. Gluttony is like greed on crack, right? Like literally, or greed on steroids, right? I'm
Definition.
sorry, crack is not a good connotation. It doesn't pump
What's
you.
the
It does
definition?
pump. All right. So habitual greed or excess in eating.
Habitual greed. Habitual greed. Not just
Habitual.
greed, but as a habit.
Yeah, like habit greed. Like I gotta have this all the time. Gotta have it.
Yeah, you're right. That's kind of like that.
Yeah, it's like greed on steroids, bro.
Hmm.
So in relation to this third chakra, I find it being like affirmations and I can have anything. I can be anything. Yes, I just need support. Something was wrong with him. Something was right with me, and that's the reason why it didn't work out. So generally,
Mm.
I find that gluttony would be more of a I speak all things into existence, but you actually experiencing the opposite of it, which would be like temperance, which would be kind of like the how effective would you be if everywhere you went you just was talking shit and popping shit everywhere you went. Hey everybody, it's Prime Harmonic up in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? You walk into work just hollering. You know what I'm saying? But that job. So generally, not really saying everything that you want to say because Prime, you do got black exploitation 70s pimp character in
I
your
know I
mind
do.
You
somewhere,
do, you
but
do,
you
you
don't
do.
bring it out every time. You feel me? It's tempered. So I find
Yeah.
that this is more of like habitual greed is saying how great you are, right? But don't nobody want to spend more than 10 minutes for real.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Mm,
so great. I'm so beautiful. I'm so fine. I'm so this. I'm so that. I'm so strong. I'm so wealthy. But don't nobody like you. You gluttonous.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm,
Habitually in greed, and you don't know how to be kind, right? You don't know how to
mm-hmm.
be taskful. You don't even know how to be diligent. You would drop a nigga in a heartbeat. You would drop
Yep.
your sister in a heartbeat. Am I lying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
what happened to
Nigga,
such and such you was liking so much a couple weeks ago? Oh, they did something I don't like. You
nigga will
glut.
sell us out. Will sell us out to Black Lives Matter any day of the week.
There you go. See, I'm done.
Oh man, did I say that out loud? I did not. Yo, my bad. I didn't mean. I didn't. You know what? I didn't mean to. My bad. My bad. Go ahead,
But
Prom.
a good example. A good example. What's the show that was out talking about the Black Panthers and that guy that sold
Judas
them out?
joint.
Judas and Jesus. Yeah. People will sell you out, and to me, I guess that is like the epitome of gluttony, right? Like, how low can you go? And it's like to 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 temper your spirit so that you can have an outcome that is good in life. To me, is like maturity. Like, so this chakra to me speaks of maturity. um and I can't help but separate it. I gotta think of it as the throat, right? I gotta think of it as what are you saying? What are you saying? Like, if you sit and you listen to somebody talk for a good 5 or 10 minutes, normally you can hear what's on their mind, or you can hear what's in their heart. You know what I'm saying? And people that are gluttonous or habitually in greed, they can't hold it in but for so long. They're gonna say something that lets you know what they're trying to like snatch or get at or something like that. It's gonna come out. And then Hood, like you said, I know I temper myself too much sometimes. And it's funny because Meredith is a friend of mine from way back when in Watson on here. And she told me something about my inner pimp one day, and I just had to just be laughing all day. But I hold it back because I'm not always sure how people are going to respond. I'm not trying to alienate folk. So,
In a
I just,
conversation,
I mean,
nigga.
not in a pimp, you know what I'm saying? The 70s exploitation film guy,
Wait a
whatever.
second.
Black Dynamite. I don't
Wait
know,
a
whatever.
second. Wait a second. Hold up. You said you had a pimp conversation. Hold on. Hold on. Pause. I'm sorry. Love y'all. Can you explain the pimp conversation? Because I didn't. I mean, you kind of give me the Rick James feel, but it's kind of like a Bob Marley Rick James. You dig what I'm saying? So, you know what? Go
I,
ahead. Just
I
go
want
ahead,
to
big bro.
I want to get to this comment. He said Omar from The Wire, or an earthly king that wants what it wants regardless of the consequences that bleed all the value from the thing
They
she
want it. That's
wanted
dope.
in the first place. But even to the throat chakra, right? How did you know Omar was in the neighborhood? Motherfuckers would literally be like, Omar coming. So remember when I just said how Prime want to walk into his job? He want to walk into a job. Prime harmonic in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like he don't want to. You're such a that's
Like
that.
Jerome, he gonna walk in there like Jerome with gold teeth on.
Hour and a half, right? No, but listen though, like
Oh, in the house.
so your ability to have or to make an entrance, you
Yeah.
know, have that your rep speak for you in a certain way, but not in a space where you have to vocalize it because you become pretentious, annoying, and people can't stand you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't add nothing to that, man. I can't add nothing to that. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
Serpent,
I
take
guess
it
I guess I know I got a different take on this. So yeah, temperance. That's a double-edged sword because you can be too careful. You can have too much restraint, or you could be like that nigga like Hood said. You know, you get up to heaven and God was just like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out why you ain't fuck more. You know what I'm saying? Like you might you might go a little bit too far with trying to be, you know, cool, calm, and collected,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
and spread yourself out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Why you
yeah,
ain't have more fun?
I can see a bad part of being too tempered. All right, I
Yeah.
can see that. You know what I'm saying? Now,
Miss out.
gluttony, gluttony is the boy Alpo from Paid in Full, right? Remember,
Mm.
they kidnapped his brother, they kidnapped his cousin and cut his finger off and mailed it to him, even though he was already dead. And then Rich Porter running around trying to get all the work he could get so he could get his little cousin back, right? And he run into his best man, supposed best man, Alpo, on the block. He said, yo, man, I got these keys in the bag. I'm about to go see Poppy. I need to get this money. I gotta get my little man back, man. You know, that's my everything, man. And first thing Alpo said was, you got how many keys in the bag? Right? Right? Like he don't care about what you talk about selling these keys for. He like, how many keys you got in the bag? Right? That's your best friend, but I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
take all these keys. I'm gonna kill you and take all these keys. That would be gluttony to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You took and you ain't have to take, but you was gonna keep taking anyway just because you could.
Yeah.
I would call Debo gluttonous. Right? What you got on my 40, homie. Even though I don't need it, right? What you got on my 40, homie? Right?
Yeah.
And temperance would be, you know, the exact opposite of that, but temperance could be a double-edged sword, like I said.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Dope.
also, like, I feel I want to add, it does seem like a sequential. So, generally, what would be the consequential energy of not activating your chakras? It would resort to me to be a level of greed or lust or desire that takes you
Mm-hmm.
over and takes you out of life, where everything in your life is based upon what you want, and that's it. Your
Mm-hmm.
happiness is based on what you want, whether you know how to get what you want or not. Because your emotional vortex is so out of whack. Because you're just greed, envy, lust,
Yeah.
gluttony. Like it's just like getting worse. So what's the next level, bro? Because this shit is getting scary.
Mm-hmm. 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 The next
Patience.
one is
Right.
patience and wrath, my G.
And we're talking about the third eye. So
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
quick, the third eye is not a passive tool. It's an
Mm-mm.
actual weapon, right?
Device. Yeah.
It's a
Sword.
device. It's a sword. It's the reason why it's calcified. Why the water is fluoridated. That's why like taking over the country is not a matter of might, is it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of taking over the water supply and fluoridating it, right? And once you got the population with fluoridated pineal glands, then
They
it's
can't
easy
see.
to take over them, right? So ultimately, why would you then want to? Why would you keep the pineal glands calcified because people can't fight back, meaning that the calcified pineal gland is in active war. And you could just be sitting in your car, just chilling, riding. But if you got an activated pineal gland, you're in the realm of wrath. But generally, to open up your pineal gland is the last step of activation because your crown chakra is more of a distributor. It don't even really activate like that. It's so powerful and so vast that when your crown chakra is activated, you're not even going to fully understand it or comprehend that part
Yep.
because shit just be crazy.
Yep.
But the third eye is the actual point where you say, job well done. But once again, people will, as we did the Chakra Nova series, the class that got the most, and I told
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
I told y'all from the beginning, the third eye, everybody gonna sign up for that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. It was
100,
our most popular class, right?
100 close to 100 people signed up for it. But
Mm-hmm.
generally, um, everything else was crickets for the most part. You know what I'm saying? For the most part. So what you referencing is people feeling like they could just easily activate their third eye chakra as the same way as they could easily access the seventh floor, the sixth floor. Well, it's gonna take a lot of leg strength to reach that height.
Yeah.
Got to understand that process. So patience in relation to the third eye is getting all of your shit right internally to the point. So I hear in the chat y'all going back and forth about duality, but we are in the middle path. Duality confuses you when you stay on good or
Mm-hmm.
bad, wrong. I like this or don't like that. Like we doing the show.
No,
And
he asked me about polarity, and I was telling him that we were in
not
the realm of
not
duality.
I'm not picking on nobody. I'm just saying the reality of trying to find the middle path is the truth. But when we go on what you like versus what I don't like, we not
Mm-hmm.
getting there, right?
Nowhere.
So
Nowhere.
middle path is doing the chakras, activating the glands. I'll say this over and over again, and they'll
Yeah.
go near and out the other, but one day y'all will get it. You are the
Mm-hmm.
book, and the book take time to read. You ever have
Yes.
a great book? You gotta read that mug. You understand? But we live in millennials where y'all probably don't even be reading actual books no more. But I
Mm-hmm.
digress.
Wow. Yeah. All I can say for that third eye, man, mine, ever since I was born, I used to have what they call them, premonition type dreams where I might dream something and then it'll come true like the next day or a week or a year, or whatever. I had one dream that it took me like 15 years or so to realize, but I remembered the dream, you know? So having had my third eye, open for most of my life, but not the rest of them, because y'all, like I told y'all plenty of times, I was messed up energy wise because I ain't really had that root to lock it down to ground it. But when I got a vision, a clear vision of something that would happen, that infused me with patience to wait for it, because I learned that as I saw these things, I knew they would come to pass, or something like them would come to pass. So it gave me patience. Times in my life where I couldn't see clearly with my third eye, I straight up normally went to wrath. I would be upset because I feel like I was moving around blind, in whatever I was working on. And I would start getting more and more upset and being short with people, losing my temper and stuff, just because I couldn't figure out what was coming, see around the corner. So to me, the third eye is very personal. It's just like the more I work to keep it operating well, the more patient I can be with how my life is flowing. If I'm not doing the right thing to make sure it's operating well, then I spend my days being scruffy and, evil when I ain't gotta be. You know.
You good, Prime? I thought you still
Yeah.
going? All right. All right. third eye, patience. Well, the way I understand the work, we only use our eyes to look, but you use your third eye to see, right? So the patience part of that would be you can look at something and derive a concept of what that thing is or what you believe that thing to be or what your consciousness is going to tell you that thing is when it's matched up with the images that are in your memory bank, right?
Yeah.
But in order for you to actually know what that thing is that you are looking at, that is your third eye that tells you. That is your third eye that gets that information and is able to break those things down, right? Because your consciousness only shows you what you're prepared to see anyway, but your third eye sees through all of the foolishness, right?
Yeah.
Wrath, that's vengeance, right, big homie?
Mm-hmm.
If you've never seen anything clearly in your life, I could see you being a vengeful individual, right? I could see you being that person.
Well, just against me.
Yeah, like who's quick to jump, who's quick to react, who's quick to try and rectify a thing, right? You see something that's supposed to be wrong, and it's your job to rectify that thing. But the
Yeah.
vengeance part, right? Like that implies that something was done wrong to you, right?
Right.
Or a perception of something being done to the person or the individual, so forth and so on. So the connection with wrath for me is not, it's not in opposition to patience, because the opposition to patience would be anxious, right? Right. The person who can't stop, even though they're probably just going 100 miles an hour and going nowhere. But wrath, man, that's a scary concept, bro. Because I done been through some shit in my life, and I still don't feel like I need to kill nobody, or I need to exact any level of revenge on those individuals. Now, maybe that's just because of my development, where I'm at, but I have no idea of what being vengeful is like because I don't rest in that realm. But I could see a person being vengeful. I can see people that live their whole lives wanting to get back at people, wanting to get back at certain situations. But then it does connect, because if you don't see a deeper understanding of the thing that you are actually looking at, then absolutely you would be vengeful. Absolutely you would feel the need to exact some sort of level of revenge because you feel like you were done wrong. I can see that. Yeah. It does fit. I'm sorry.
You good?
No, that's good, dog. Because, I mean, at a certain level, people are at this point of wanting to be successful, not for their own personal pleasure. They want to make another person happy by being successful. But the irony is that once you actually become successful, nobody's happy. You're not happy because you're doing bullshit, right? And everybody then is looking at you like, who this motherfucker think they are, right? Because it's unnatural, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we live in a very confusing world, which I guess once you add all of these things up, you would then equate it to wrath, right? Because what
Mm-hmm.
happens after a person is envious? So Alpo low key jealous of Ace because Ace really
Mm-hmm.
been it down the whole movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it gets to a point where that envy turns finds so the thing about envy, it waits until you're vulnerable, right, to
Yep.
reveal itself.
And then you get that
And,
impulse.
and when you're vulnerable, envy says, you know what, fuck you, right? Now I'm about to take advantage of you. And the reason that you're susceptible to it is because you're not really patient nor
Yeah.
can see. So ultimately, I'll do a Doctor Strange with women,
Mhm.
and I'll foresee the outcome of our relationship, and I'll say, you know what, I'm good,
Yeah.
Mhm. It's not gonna
right?
work.
It's not
Yeah.
going to work because at some point you're going to be mad at me for something. I can kind of foresee this. So generally, you then leverage patience, and then they lose interest, right? They don't
Oh,
even,
Yeah.
yeah.
because the reality of the overall outcome was that they were there to ruin your overall vibration with a
Yes.
Yeah.
negative energy. But if you
Mhm.
were to see it out with patient energy, you would see it exactly the way it was going to be laid out. But when I did the Doctor Strange with my wife, I seen it all the way to the end. We was on the beach, we was chilling,
Mm.
we was doing all types of weird stuff together. You understand what I'm saying? Like, okay, all right, we good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But you got to give that Doctor Strange, and what I mean
Yeah.
Mhm.
is using that third eye. What's the
Mhm.
outcome, right?
Mhm.
You don't think that this is why I don't be really caring, and me and my wife, we gonna talk about this later, but I don't really be caring about sob stories in the relationship realm, because you could see the future.
Yeah.
Yep.
You knew the outcome of that situation.
Mhm.
You seen the outcome and you just said fuck it.
Yeah.
It's been many times that I got reading on guys and I said, you know what? It's gonna be a big waste of time. Don't do it, sis. You know what she
Mhm.
did? Did it anyway.
Did it
And
anyway.
what was the outcome? Big waste of
Big
time. He's
waste.
salty, mad. Can't believe he did this. I can believe it. I told you a
Right.
long time ago.
Right.
I hit
Yeah.
him with the Doctor Strange. You understand what I'm saying? So generally, when you get to the third eye, there's no excuse. But if you
Mm.
think it's a la carte,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
certain things within Prime's life is not because he's a scraggly, waggly, sagly
Mhm.
dude,
Mhm.
ass dude. He obviously
Mhm.
had the Doctor Strange some shit to be like. Y'all got to look at the video. The first video me and Prime Harmonic do a rundown of his whole history. Okay,
Oh
all
yeah. The
that,
breathing 101.
yeah, all of the people that he met, he gave you the whole rundown. Now, if that's not did y'all see Doctor Strange?
That
Yeah.
is my favorite Marvel character, nigga.
When
Hmm.
Doctor Strange he found the
Hmm.
masters that taught him different things, right? But then
Mhm.
he began to utilize that as like outcome
Yeah.
magic. What's the outcome? So the houses together, the cars together, up in he said he Prime said the people around here be having money.
Yeah, nigga, you in Rhode Island. It's only one of the
like
most expensive cities in
like you
America.
there too, fam. What, you just the popper?
Yeah,
You
like
the
you the bus boy.
panhandler.
You know what I mean? You just pulling cars around for niggas, right? You got the valet jacket on, like
Yeah.
fuck. You pay rent there too. Last time I checked.
Live
Yeah. Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
fam.
You good? Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know about too many niggas talking about living in Rhode Island. I know that.
Word. All
Like
right.
Providence. Like niggas live in Providence. But other than that,
Yeah.
fam, I ain't never heard of a nigga saying they live in Rhode Island besides Providence. Period.
Never,
Word.
never,
Word.
never.
Yeah. I'm the
Period.
only chocolate chip around here,
The
man.
only chocolate chip. Talking
Come on,
about, man,
bro.
these people got money.
Yeah, yeah. I bet they do.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they do, Prime.
Let me say it another
How
way. They
much
got more
how
than
much it
me.
costs for you to be around them, Prime? You know what I'm saying?
A lot.
How much
A
they
lot.
charge you? No, but
And my
seriously.
daughter's tuition. Oh,
But no, but what I'm saying is that Prime is a
He having
special
heart palpitations right now.
Prime is a special character. Prime is a special person, and Prime can teach you a lot on how to use your third eye, not
Word.
only to be deep on YouTube, but manifest a perfect life. And I know
Mm-hmm.
Prime might say my life ain't perfect, but it's better than most, my guy.
yes, sir. Yes,
A
sir.
Yes, it
person with
is.
a person with fight, you know, Debo, Kimbo Slice in the
Mm-hmm.
afterlife,
Mm-hmm.
just to live where you live. You know what
Just
I'm
Yeah.
to
saying?
live
So
where you live.
So you gotta look at it in a particular way, and when people talk to you, it's not like they're just absorbing the energy of a poor righteous teacher. I just want people to be clear on that and referencing that, oh no, it's prosperity things happening. We could just be chill and chop it up. And a person don't gotta be bragging or pretentious, but a person can really be in that middle pathway. But when you using your third eye, and you fully using your third eye, Prime said he been using his third eye since he was a child. So thus I then have to look at a person that say that and be like, oh no, it checks out. This nigga James Bond for real. I'm gonna fall back. Yeah, he his third eye activated, right? Because you would want the best thing for yourself, right? You would want to see the best thing, right? You wouldn't want to see no bullshit if your third eye was activated. You would want to live in a nice neighborhood, guys. Believe it or not.
Yes. Yes.
You want to live in a beautiful home with a beautiful wife and a beautiful child, and go to a job that gets you a lot of respect, because a man want to go to somewhere where he feel like I do something that matters.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Damn, you called it out straight up, man.
Appreciate it, bro.
So your third eye is powerful, not in a sense where it's just some cool shit to say on the internet, but no, it's able to create the life that I want to fucking live in. I'm a magnet to my desire, so much so that I don't even fucking realize that I'd be attracting this shit. I'd be looking at the people around me like, damn, these people got it going on, not realizing that I'm a part of them. Like, I got it going on too. And it's just you are your reflection, but your reflection is amazing when you fully like get to a certain state. You know what I'm saying? But this is OG big boy talk. You know what I'm saying? Like spirituals talk.
This is cloth talk, right? This is cloth talk right here.
But able to use it in a way that manifests your perfect life. If you've been catching drifts this whole important time, it's like finding your balance, finding your middle, right? Looking at both sides of the coin. Like, fuck both of those sides. I'd rather focus in on me. But I'm going to stop and pass the Mizike.
Oh, nah, you might as well keep it, because the last one is humility and pride, bro.
I know, it rolls right in. These have been rolling right in.
These they really do, right? Because imagine a person, right? Like, because we're gonna do the imbalanced chakra, person A and person B, right? Imagine the person, right? We know this person who got everything they wanted, right? But then they woke up the next day and got more of what they wanted, right? And then they said, you know what? The next day after, I've been getting what I wanted for the past year. You know what I'm gonna do this year? I'm gonna double down and get even more what I want. Okay, and so I'll go from lust, I'll go from slothliness, because I don't want to actually do the work of anything. I just see, when you get what you want, plus get what you want, you're actually hiding the pain of not actually relating to people in a true way. Because ain't nothing worse than a person that deal with a person for an existential reason, right? You don't want to be the person. This is what I was thinking. It's good that I'm a little bit kind of a ugly, because I know that if a person gonna deal.
What are you talking about?
I know where he's going. I think I know where he's going.
I'm gonna let you go. I'm sorry.
Listen,
I think you're a sexy nigga. No cap, no homo. I think you're a sexy nigga. No homo.
No. It's a lot of beautiful people, beautiful people sitting at home alone in their room with brandy. And then I'm a double down on that. Say if you in a relationship, right, and your homeboy cheat on you, and she with an ugly person, the first thing that a woman going to think is, why would you treat me?
Her?
Is she uglier than me? Okay, because women equate beauty with connection. However, that's not necessarily true. You want somebody to deal with you for you internally, but when you so beautiful, it's hard for a person to even get there. So it's getting what you want, and you're not really getting nothing. But because you so inundated with getting what you want and not really getting anything, What's the next step? You put on that crown anyway. Y'all all kings and queens. Peace, king. Peace, queen. Can I get $10, queen? I don't know nothing about that, fam. I can't do that for you, fam. Peace, king. Peace, queen. I really would. Hash browns today. I'm kind of hungry. I don't know nothing about that, fam. But let me tilt my crown. You know, people want to be kings and queens without doing the actual work to live in the space of being a king and a queen. So generally, that's the energy of pride, you know, and that's in a nutshell. I feel like millennials, because of the internet and Instagram,
Oh shit.
that it's just more or less of you validated by how people receive you. But that's the right hand and the left hand path, because the other person is just doing everything good, right? What about the good people in the world, right? They deserve nothing but, you know, roses walking at their feet. But at the end of the day, we all catching hell, except the people who doing the chakra work, right? And understanding that it's an inside out game and not an outside in game. But, you know, ain't no pride in that for me. Because, you know, if I don't drink my water, I'm catching hell. So whether y'all think I'm the dopest person on the internet, if I ain't taking care of myself, you know, I'm gonna be catching hell. So
Yeah. This one is pretty fucking straightforward to me. First of all, I don't, in my opinion, pride don't go anywhere near divinity, but that's another story, another topic for another day. So the only things that I would even remotely feel prideful about is the work that I put in, and whatever my kids do, good or bad. You understand? Their existence for me is something to be proud of. Their level of development from beginning to whenever my end is something to be proud of. As far as anything else go, if I didn't set out and do something, if I didn't set out to do that thing and I reap the benefits from it, I'm not gonna be proud of that. I'm not gonna be proud of some foolishness of somebody on TV telling me I should be a king or a queen or a god or a goddess, or like none of that is anything to be proud of. Okay, I don't care how many stories they want to tell you about black people did this first. Like that ain't nothing for you to be proud of. Okay, like pride, the majority of pride that I've experienced through people and through situations has been foolish. Just to be real, okay? Because the things that people probably should be prideful about, they're not, right? So I'm prideful about this work. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm proud about doing this work, how long I've been on this path, and realizing how much I've evolved since when I started. I'm proud of that, right? And humility, well, that's one of the hardest lessons any individual, peon or not, you know, apprentice or not, you know, initiate or not. Humility is learning when to be not so righteous, even though you see an individual doing something that may be wrong, right? Like every time you see somebody do something fucked up, do you have to step in and tell that person that they're doing something wrong, right? Do you have to impose your righteousness on another individual or another situation? You don't. You're not required to. That's not even something that you should do. Okay? People get so hung up and wanting to police other individuals, and people don't even know about the book that they have within them, right? So humility is being able to see a person struggle and not laugh, right? Being able to walk over to that person and pat them on their back. It's not their fault. It may be their fault. Who cares? It's not for you to decide, right? Right? Like being there for something or being there for someone, even though they probably should have known better. They could have known better. Like being there for someone, even though you don't have to.
Yeah.
right?
I think, and I'm gonna just say this real quick. It speaks to everybody having their own soul's path and
Mm-hmm,
following that personal soul's path. And I can't
mm-hmm,
never say you doing the wrong thing if that's what your soul requires you to do.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I was done like that. Yeah, that's perfect, yo. That's perfect, yo. I think this works so well. Like though that graph works so well. Like I don't. Wow,
Mhm.
it far exceeded my expectations, and I really, thought we had a dope show like on Tuesday, and I still know that we had an even better show now on Thursday. Like so, yeah,
Yeah.
like this was wow. It flows,
Yeah.
yo. It flows,
It,
yo.
it exceeded my expectations because just looking at the words, I wasn't piecing it together, but what I was missing was chopping it up with you guys. Um, only thing I would add to the humility and pride is like, I think it's good to have some pride when you make certain spiritual advances. And then it's also good to know, okay, now that I'm proud that I've reached this level, or I've opened my third eye, or I've done this work, I've healed my heart, right? Whatever it is. And it's a continual process, right? But when you get that pride, it's important to then be humble again and be open to learning something new. I've seen people on the path of rising their spiritual energy and they become too prideful. They think that there's nothing more to learn. And
And
all
I'm
of
gonna
the,
add that
yeah,
did they raise their spiritual energy? But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's the real question.
right.
Because
No,
a person that really did that work would never be prideful, bro.
yeah. They might have made it up the first few stairs. I'll put it that way. They might be doing something different than some other people, but there's a lot more that they could do if they would drop the illusion that there was no more for them to learn.
Yeah,
that's a big one right there. That's a
hell
real
yeah,
big
yo.
one.
Hell yeah, yo. Because like we always talk about it, so you develop that foolishness that tells you like you're superior. That superior
Yeah,
thinking because you learned something that you didn't know before, and most of the people that you know don't know this thing. So you're like, I know this, and I sit above you. Like that, it's fucking ridiculous.
yeah.
It is. And you know what's the way you find out is when you get embarrassed, when you realize you don't know as much as you thought you. You know what I'm saying? Like when you really meet that person that knows that thing, and you try and spout your foolishness out in front of them, they just be like, "Word,
That'd
that's what
be
you
my
got from
daughter.
it." Yep, and that's the last of that conversation. You'll never hear from them again. He's like, "Why that person?" Yeah, because you said some foolishness, and you really believe the foolishness, so they're gonna let you
Mm,
believe the foolishness. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, and I will also say that I think this goes without saying, but it's got to be said. In reference to this work, where it's a love offering, it's a donation, because the reality is it's not really a price to it, but it's a little token of effort and energy. But the bigger thing though is like when people is charging you exorbitant amounts, y'all gotta understand that the only thing that is happening is that that person is getting paid and you is a little bit broker. When it comes to spiritual work, you actually have to involve yourself with your intuition. Was we talking about this earlier, Ra?
yeah, we was definitely talking about this earlier.
So
Involve yourself with your intuition.
yes, your intuition is nothingness, right? How
hmm
much does it cost to establish nothingness within your being?
Hmm, hmm,
Free 99.
hmm,
Okay, so I
hmm.
just wanted to share that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And everything comes from the nothingness anyway. So,
All of
um,
your psychic functions are going to come from your intuition, which come from your nothing. So free your mind and your ass
mhm.
will follow.
Oh, yes,
Word up,
sir.
word up. When you start renouncing those five senses and start caring about the sixth one, you know what it is.
Yep.
Y'all got any closing words for the family? I think this one we did a classic here because we really broke down the Kabbalistic tree of life, but we did it in a different type of way.
Yep, that's exactly
We
what we did.
we gave you the left hand side, the right hand side, and also the middle path. So when they say the chakras are connected to the Kabbalah and you be real confused, reference this video for a simplistic
Yep.
variation of the Kabbalistic tree of life and how it references your personal life experience in the now.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, I just like to say thank you to the family and thank you to my brothers. I appreciate them confirming me on putting this together because this was a throw together, but I've been thinking about it all week and I've been shooting messages all week and I'm sure I got them tired of me, but I really appreciate the space that, we keep creating for one another and I just want to keep it going. Like I said, I appreciate the family, everybody that tuned in, anybody that might catch this on a replay. Also, um, Chakra Nova, 23rd of May, that is, right?
Yep.
We also got those bundle sets going. I know Prime got something going. Also, on the breath, I should hit Prime up on his inbox. Make sure y'all hit me up for any questions or anything in the DM. Like I said, I just want to thank my big homie, Mystic, for allowing us the space. And
Yeah. Thank you.
Nah, this was all you. Dark Serpent put this together like he was putting this. He once he sent me this, you could look at the text message. I said, okay, that's a show. That's. I typed one word. I said content.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
because this
you
is.
actually sent two messages. You said content, then you said let's go, and that was it.
Because this is a beautiful. When you said it, I was like, that's brilliant. I never even thought about it or connected it, and I didn't even know the connection, but we realized the connection. So, every Thursday we bring a knowledge in reference to the chakras. So get used to an absorbent amount of information in relation to the fact that you are the book, but Prime, let the people give us some words of advice moving into, whenever a person hear this video, they're gonna cut this video off, but give them something to reverberate, in their
Yeah.
pond of life.
Just like DJ Jaguar said in the chat, just like Sacred Serpent has been saying from the beginning, this is like building a house. We start from the ground up, and just like we did our conversation from the root up, I think it's important that the work goes the same way. And the Chakra Nova set, I feel, does that in a gentle manner. Some yogis out here or yoga groups will claim to help you awaken your Kundalini. But for everything you've heard on this video, this is how we've chopped up and dissected the psychology, the spirituality, and the energy of each chakra. So, my thing is like, just if you're going to get the courses, start from the root, go through them, and expect each of them to be this dope, if not doper. So
way doper.
Yeah,
way doper. Yeah, because we not slothing this one through. Okay.
Yes, we're not.
You like that? You like that? We're not slothing this one.
The most important thing that I would require for anybody, money, but that's like a small token. The most thing you gotta really want to learn yourself. You really gotta understand the middle path is yourself, right?
Yeah.
They reference the middle path. What is the middle path? It is you. And so I had this thought about being observed and allowing yourself to be observed. And once you say, okay, I'm being observed, then that then puts the onus on you to perform in a particular type of way. But sometimes we act in a way as if we're not observed, right?
Yep.
We
Yep.
act like nobody's
Yeah.
watching us, and we get into all types of weird lust and greeds and gluttonies and slothliness because nobody's watching us. But your ancestors is watching you right now. Your
I got
guides
one.
is watching you right
I got
now.
one.
Your
I got
higher
one.
self is watching you
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
because that's exactly where I was going. Like I meant to answer Prime on this a couple of weeks ago, right? Like he got that tree fall in the forest story, right?
Oh,
Everybody likes to say this thing, right? So it kind of goes in line with the ratchet beliefs, right? Like, it ain't a crime if nobody sees you commit it, right? Well, your being saw that shit,
yeah.
right? Right? Your divine self saw that shit, right?
Yeah.
And inside you, you got a divine mother and a divine father. Like, you think they wasn't watching?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
just think about it that way next time you do some tracks on shit because ain't nobody there.
So
Yeah.
let's move like mommy and daddy is watching us. And generally, that's what I've actually learned. Like, this process for me has been a process of living my life very soberly, very
Yeah.
gingerly, very pragmatically. And I've
Present.
never been successful ever, but left to my own devices, I'm not as successful as I am. But that discipline of observation just requires me and allows me to be a better person. So I I really would always hope for connection and working with people and showing up as much as you can with people, showing up with your brothers. I mean, black men, we got to be unified and at the very least talk to one another because
Word.
we not even doing that. You know
Real
what I'm
talk.
saying?
Real
We
talk. Not
walking
that.
by each other in the street.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Not
Exactly.
Yep.
even saying what's up. So,
People
it's
got
certain
people
things
numbers
that
and
we
don't even
can do.
call each other. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We can heal in all different types of ways, but it takes your initiation. But that initiation comes from the middle path. It is you brought forth. So part
Hmm.
of these other paths, the right hand or the left hand, is you looking at everybody else. So you doing charity, you helping other people, but my nigga, you need help. So,
Yeah.
you
You
know,
need
so
help.
so let's
You
let's
need
let's
help.
be real. Taking care of yourself is a very important deal.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
concur wholeheartedly. I concur.
But
Yeah.
that was an episode 2, man. Y'all should tune in next week, next Thursday, because I'm sure I told Dark Serpent from now on, you got to come with these show ideas. So if y'all want to help Dark Serpent out, DM them. How could they reach you? How could they DM you?
Uh, yeah, sacred underscore serpent underscore 08 space 23 on Instagram.
Hmm.
Racine Maurice on Facebook, and also multiple streams of info on Instagram and Facebook, and social ss.media 0823 on Instagram.
Prime.
Yep. And I'm at prime.harmonic on Instagram. And that's the same for my Gmail, prime.harmonic@gmail.com.
Reach out to these brothers, men and women alike, because the ideas build in community. And generally, you getting more than what you pay for when you are really serious about this work and really serious about when we reference the work, really serious about yourself. And once again, one of the most important things you ever going to do in this life is breathe, right? So that's why we saying reach out to Prime Harmonic, because a lot of
Hmm.
people don't even know that they ain't even breathing right. So before
Hmm.
we get to manifesting and living and doing all of this stuff that we want to do, let's first
Breathe.
learn how to goddamn breathe. So,
Yeah,
but with all
yeah.
of that being said,
You
man,
do need air,
um,
player. You do need air.
you do need fresh prana. Shout out to Infinite Waters. But I'm gonna definitely tap in with you guys a little later, and thank y'all for
Thank
joining
you.
me and
Thank you. Thank
bringing
you.
information to the people that they need. And somebody needed this video, and just for that alone, we did good work tonight. So thank you once again, fellas.
Shay. Yeah.
Ashe.
I say,
Peace.
All
Peace.
right, peace out, y'all.
peace, families.